Welcome back to part 3 of our discussion on AI talk. We've had a deep dive into the shifting political landscape among black voters, the influence of black conservatives, and the impact of Trump's policies on these dynamics. As we wrap up this enlightening conversation, I want to explore further the cultural and social ramifications of these shifts. Jack, how do black conservatives see the role of culture in political identity? And how are they working to change the narrative within their communities?
Great question, Astro. Culture plays a significant role in shaping political identity, and black conservatives are acutely aware of this. They understand that cultural narratives often drive perceptions and can either reinforce or challenge political beliefs. For a long time, the dominant cultural narrative within the black community has leaned heavily Democratic, largely due to historical alliances and the civil rights movement. Black conservatives are working to change this narrative by emphasizing shared values and principles that they believe resonate deeply within the community. These include faith, family, entrepreneurship, and personal responsibility. They argue that these values are inherently conservative and that the conservative movement offers practical solutions to the issues facing black Americans. To change the narrative, black conservatives are engaging in several key strategies. 1. Promoting successful role models. They highlight successful black conservatives in various fields, showcasing how conservative principles can lead to personal and professional success. This visibility helps break down stereotypes and shows that conservatism can be a viable and empowering political stance. 2. Leveraging media and technology. Social media platforms, podcasts, and online videos are powerful tools for reaching wider audiences. Black conservatives use these platforms to share their stories, present data, and engage directly with their communities. This direct communication helps build trust and provides an alternative narrative to the mainstream media. 3. Community engagement. Grassroots organizations like Blexit and others focus on community outreach. They organize events, workshops, and town halls to discuss issues like economic empowerment, education, and criminal justice reform from a conservative perspective. By being present in the community and addressing local concerns, they build credibility and foster dialogue. 4. Education and advocacy. Black conservatives emphasize the importance of education in shifting cultural narratives. They advocate for school choice and educational reforms that they believe will provide better opportunities for black students. Additionally, they focus on increasing political literacy, helping community members understand how policies impact their lives and encouraging informed voting. 5. Reclaiming historical figures. They often reclaim historical black figures who espoused values that align with conservatism, such as Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass. By highlighting these figures, they show that conservative principles have a long-standing place in the fight for black liberation and empowerment.
These strategies are indeed multifaceted and robust. However, changing deeply entrenched cultural narratives isn't easy. What are some of the specific challenges black conservatives face in this endeavor? And how are they addressing them?
You're absolutely right, Astro. Changing deeply entrenched cultural narratives is a significant challenge, and black conservatives face several specific obstacles in this effort. Firstly, stereotypes and misconceptions. One of the biggest challenges is overcoming stereotypes and misconceptions about conservatism within the black community. Many people view conservatism as inherently opposed to black interests, largely due to historical and media-driven narratives. Addressing the challenge. Black conservatives work to counter these stereotypes by sharing personal stories and highlighting successful black conservatives. They also engage in direct dialogue, explaining how conservative policies can benefit the black community. By providing data and real-world examples, they aim to challenge and change these misconceptions. Secondly, media bias. Many black conservatives believe that the mainstream media is biased against them, often portraying their views in a negative light or ignoring them altogether. Addressing the challenge. To counter media bias, black conservatives leverage alternative media platforms. Social media, podcasts, and independent news outlets provide them with the opportunity to present their views unfiltered. By building their own media presence, they can reach a wider audience and ensure their voices are heard. Thirdly, community pushback. Black conservatives often face pushback from within their own communities. They may be labeled as sellouts or accused of betraying their racial identity. Addressing the challenge. To address community pushback, Black conservatives focus on building relationships and trust within their communities. They engage in grassroots efforts, working with local organizations and leaders to show that their advocacy is driven by a genuine desire to improve the community. By being present and active in community issues, they build credibility and counter accusations of betrayal. Next is political polarization. The current political climate is highly polarized, making it difficult to have nuanced discussions about policy and ideology. This polarization can create a hostile environment for Black conservatives. Addressing the challenge, Black conservatives advocate for open dialogue and debate. They emphasize the importance of listening to different perspectives and finding common ground. By fostering respectful discussions, they aim to reduce polarization and encourage more thoughtful consideration of conservative ideas. Lastly, institutional barriers. There are also institutional barriers, such as the dominance of liberal perspectives in educational institutions and cultural organizations. These institutions often shape public perceptions and can marginalize conservative voices. Addressing the challenge. To overcome institutional barriers, Black conservatives work to establish their own institutions and networks. This includes creating educational programs, think tanks, and cultural organizations that promote conservative principles. By building their own infrastructure, they can support and amplify conservative voices within the Black community.
It's evident that these challenges require persistent and strategic efforts. Let's talk about the broader implications of these shifts. How might the increasing visibility and influence of Black conservatives impact the overall political landscape in the United States?
The increasing visibility and influence of Black conservatives have the potential to significantly impact the overall political landscape in several ways. Diversifying political discourse. The rise of Black conservatives adds diversity to political discourse, bringing new perspectives and ideas to the table. This diversification can lead to more comprehensive and well-rounded policy discussions, as different viewpoints are considered and debated. Shifting voting patterns. As more Black voters become open to conservative ideas, we could see a shift in voting patterns. This shift could challenge the traditional stronghold of the Democratic Party within the Black community and lead to more competitive elections. Both parties may need to adjust their strategies and policies to appeal to a broader range of voters. Policy innovation. The infusion of new ideas from Black conservatives can drive policy innovation. Their emphasis on economic empowerment, educational reform, and criminal justice reform could lead to the development of new policies that address these issues in more effective ways. This innovation can benefit not only the Black community but the country as a whole. Bridging divides. Black conservatives often advocate for finding common ground and reducing polarization. Their efforts to engage in open dialogue and foster mutual understanding can help bridge divides within the country. By promoting respectful discussions and focusing on shared values, they can contribute to a more united and cooperative political environment. Empowering grassroots movements. The success of movements like Blexit demonstrates the power of grassroots organizing. As Black conservatives continue to build and expand their networks, they can empower more individuals to get involved in the political process. This increased engagement can lead to a more active and informed electorate, which is essential for a healthy democracy. Challenging political assumptions. The rise of Black conservatives challenges long-standing political assumptions and stereotypes. It forces political analysts, strategists, and the public to rethink their views on race and political affiliation. This reevaluation can lead to a more nuanced understanding of the complexities within the Black community and the broader electorate. Influencing policy priorities. As Black conservatives gain influence, they can shape policy priorities within the conservative movement. Their focus on issues like criminal justice reform, economic opportunity, and educational choice can push these topics to the forefront of the conservative agenda. This influence can lead to policies that better address the needs and concerns of the Black community.
These broader implications underscore the significance of this shift. Before we wrap up, I'd like to touch on some specific policies. What are some key policy areas where Black conservatives are making their voices heard? And what are their main arguments?
Black conservatives are vocal in several key policy areas, advocating for changes they believe will benefit the Black community and the country as a whole. Here are some of the main policy areas and their arguments. Economic policy. Main arguments. Tax reform. Black conservatives argue that lower taxes on individuals and businesses can spur economic growth, create jobs, and increase disposable income. They support tax cuts and incentives that encourage investment and entrepreneurship. Deregulation. They believe that reducing government regulations can make it easier for small businesses to operate and thrive. By cutting red tape, they argue that more people can start and grow their own businesses, leading to greater economic empowerment. Opportunity zones. Black conservatives support initiatives like opportunity zones, which offer tax incentives to invest in economically distressed areas. They argue that these zones can attract investment, create jobs, and revitalize underserved communities. Education policy. Main arguments. School choice. Black conservatives are strong proponents of school choice, including charter schools, vouchers, and homeschooling. They argue that parents should have the freedom to choose the best educational setting for their children, especially in areas with failing public schools. Education reform. They advocate for reforms that improve the quality of education, such as better funding for schools, teacher training, and updated curriculums. They believe that a strong education system is essential for breaking the cycle of poverty and providing opportunities for future success. Vocational training. Black conservatives emphasize the importance of vocational and technical training programs that prepare students for high-demand careers. They argue that not all students need a traditional college education and that alternative pathways can lead to successful careers. Criminal justice reform. Main arguments. Sentencing reform. Black conservatives support reforms to reduce mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent offenses, arguing that these policies disproportionately affect Black communities and contribute to mass incarceration. Rehabilitation and reentry programs. They advocate for programs that help inmates reintegrate into society, such as job training, education, and mental health services. They believe that these programs can reduce recidivism and help former inmates become productive members of society. Police reform. While they support law and order, Black conservatives also recognize the need for police reform. They advocate for measures that increase accountability and transparency, improve community police relations, and ensure that law enforcement practices are fair and just. Healthcare policy. Main arguments. Access and affordability. Black conservatives argue for policies that increase access to affordable healthcare, such as expanding health savings accounts, HSAs, and promoting competition among healthcare providers. They believe that market-based solutions can lower costs and improve quality. Medicare and Medicaid reform. They support reforms to these programs that ensure sustainability and efficiency. They argue for policies that provide more flexibility and choice for beneficiaries, allowing them to tailor their healthcare to their needs. Preventative care. Black conservatives emphasize the importance of preventative care and wellness programs. They advocate for initiatives that encourage healthy lifestyles and early intervention to reduce long-term healthcare costs. Immigration policy. Main arguments. Legal immigration. Black conservatives support a legal immigration system that is fair and efficient. They argue that legal immigrants contribute to the economy and enrich the culture, but that the system needs to be streamlined to better manage the flow of immigrants. Border security. They advocate for strong border security measures to prevent illegal immigration. They argue that uncontrolled immigration can strain public resources and undercut wages for American workers, including Black Americans. Merit-based immigration. Black conservatives support a merit-based immigration system that prioritizes skills and economic contributions. They believe this approach can help address labor shortages and boost economic growth.
These policy areas are indeed crucial. It's clear that Black conservatives are not only challenging existing narratives, but also offering substantive policy solutions. As we conclude, what do you think is the future for Black conservatism, and how might it continue to evolve?
The future for Black conservatism looks promising, and there are several potential directions in which it might continue to evolve. Growing influence and representation. As more Black conservatives gain visibility and influence, we can expect to see greater representation in political offices, think tanks, media, and other influential platforms. This increased representation will help amplify their voices and ensure that their perspectives are included in policy discussions. Continued grassroots mobilization. Grassroots movements like Blexit will likely continue to grow, engaging more Black voters and building a robust network of activists and supporters. These movements will play a key role in mobilizing voters, educating communities, and advocating for conservative policies at the local, state, and national levels. Policy innovation and advocacy. Black conservatives will continue to advocate for innovative policies that address the unique challenges faced by their communities. They will focus on promoting economic empowerment, educational reform, criminal justice reform, and other key issues. Their advocacy will push the conservative movement to develop policies that are both effective and inclusive. Bridging divides and building coalitions. The emphasis on finding common ground and reducing polarization will remain a central theme. Black conservatives will work to build coalitions across different groups, fostering dialogue and cooperation. By focusing on shared values and goals, they can help bridge divides and create a more united political environment. Expanding educational efforts. Efforts to increase political literacy and education within the Black community will continue to be a priority. Black conservatives will work to ensure that individuals have access to accurate information and understand the impact of policies on their lives. This focus on education will empower more people to make informed political decisions. Adapting to changing demographics. As the demographics of the United States continue to evolve, Black conservatives will need to adapt their strategies and messaging to reach a diverse and changing electorate. They will focus on addressing the concerns of younger voters, immigrants, and other growing demographic groups. Promoting unity and empowerment. Ultimately, the future of Black conservatism will be shaped by its ability to promote unity and empowerment within the Black community. By offering positive, solutions-oriented policies and fostering a sense of collective responsibility, Black conservatives can help build a stronger, more resilient community.
Jack, your insights have been incredibly valuable throughout this conversation. As we wrap up, any final thoughts or messages you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Thank you, Astro. I appreciate the opportunity to share these perspectives. My final message to our listeners is this: it's essential to keep an open mind and engage with a variety of viewpoints. The political landscape is complex, and understanding different perspectives can lead to more informed and productive discussions. For those within the Black community, I encourage you to explore and consider all political options. Don't feel confined by historical allegiances or cultural expectations. Evaluate policies and ideas based on their merits and their potential impact on your life and community. For those outside the Black community, it's crucial to listen and learn from the experiences and perspectives of Black conservatives. Their voices add valuable insights to the broader political discourse and can help shape policies that benefit everyone. Ultimately, we all share the same goal: to build a better, more equitable, and prosperous society. By working together, respecting each other's viewpoints, and focusing on solutions, we can achieve that goal. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope this conversation has been as enlightening for you as it has been for me.
Thank you, Jack. This has been a truly enlightening discussion, and thank you to our listeners for joining us on AI Talk. Stay tuned for more episodes where we delve into the most pressing issues of our time with a wide range of voices and perspectives. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep engaging.